Bobby Fischer's 5 most amazing moves. Like this video now, and we're going to have a look at the most amazing moments that occurred in this brilliant Champions Games. He was considered one of the best players in the world. Do you agree? Well, maybe you will after these 5 moments. In this first example, Bobby has the white pieces against another very strong player, Reshevsky. And in this position, he plays an amazing idea. Can you find the move? Drum roll, please. Bishop takes f7 check. Boom! Straight in your face, Reshevsky. After king takes, can you see the idea? Knight to e6. Here we go. That knight dives into the guts of black's position and the black queen is now attacked. The problem here is black can't do anything to save that queen, try as he might. Now in the game, Reshevsky decided to take that knight with his pawn. Goodbye queen. Queen takes queen and Bobby went on to win the game. If he goes king takes knight, the king starts running around the board and you don't want to do that with your king. No, 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 no. How can you checkmate it? Well, queen d5 check would happen. The king comes to f5, g4 check, opening up more lines towards the black king. The black king has to take that pawn, rook g1 check. Another piece dives into the attack. Poor old black kingy. Goodbye, my friend. For example, if the black king goes to h5, we have the switcheroo. Queen to g2, and the queen has a number of ways to dive in with checkmate. Black can't stop all these possibilities, so it's game over. A very, very quick victory. Let's now move on to his second most amazing move. The second example has been called Game of the Century, and we will shortly see why it's been named such an accolade. In this position, Bobby is only 13 years old. His queen is attacked on b6. Most mortals would simply move that queen away, but not young Bobby. Can you see the move? Bishop to e6. A fantastic switch round, leaving his queen to be captured. But now white is in all sorts of problems. For example, if white decides to take the knight, we now go queen takes bishop with a lovely pin on that queen, and this is a winning position. If he plays bishop takes bishop, we can play queen b5. There's no bishop in the way and white gets checkmated. King to e1, queen to e2, boom, to the king. A big checkmate. Where else can that king go? Well, it can go to g1, and now we see a technique that was used in the game. Knight to e2. This knight has the time of its life, diving in and out of the position. King to f1, knight to g3. Hello. King to g1. Can you see the beautiful finish to this fascinating combination? Queen to f1, entombing the white king. Rook takes f1, and now the nail in the coffin. Knight to e2, checkmate. Brilliant stuff. In the game, Donald Byrne obviously saw all these lines. He must have been shocked by this 13-year-old's fascinating, brilliant and superb play. He decided to take the queen. This knight is the hero. He's on Broadway, prancing around like a Hollywood star, and he deserves it. Because after king g1, look at this knight go. What a wee little chap he is. Knight to e2. We call this technique the windmill technique. It dances around like a windmill. King to f1. Knight takes d4. Check. King to g1. Knight to e2. Hello, king. King to f1. Knight to c3. Check. Hello, king. King to g1. And now simply pawn takes pawn. The rook attacks the queen. The knight attacks the rook. Bobby has a fantastic position, which he went on to convert in some style. Brilliant stuff from the young 13-year-old. On to the next case. The next example has some real poetry surrounding it. The white king is already very exposed in the middle of the board, but we need to bring in the cannonballs. How do we do that? Always look for the most forcing moves. And in this position, queen takes f4. There goes the explosion. Where can the king go? Well, first of all, we can take that queen, can't we, young Bobby? Well, if you do take the queen, bishop to h6 is checkmate. And this is the end of the game, the end of the road for white. Even though black has so little material on the board, the white king is stuck in a place it can't escape from. A brilliant combination. In this position, after queen f4, white decided to resign because the pieces are going to flood in no matter where the white king retreats to. White had enough by this stage. On to the next example. We now come to another shotgun moment. Those moments where one move, pulling the trigger, ends the game immediately. Bobby has the white pieces. His pieces are dangerously hanging around the black king. But what move finishes the game? Again, have a go yourselves. It is a big move. Look for those very aggressive moves like checks or captures. Queen takes h7 check, and in this position black resigned. This move draws the black king into the open. For example, king takes h7, and now we continue the attack. Pawn takes pawn, double check, something we have seen earlier. And the idea is wherever the black king goes is checkmate next move. For example, if it tries to run back home, the rook is now open, so it can come and give a bit of a back ranker. This is a terminology we use in chess. That is the back rank along the back, and that is a back spank, checkmate. If the black king tries to come out into the open, can any other piece join in the attack? Yes, it can. The bishop on g2. Bishop e4, checkmate. A beautiful combination. Now, let's see my last pick of his most amazing moves. This next position has a little bit more je ne sais quoi, a bit more subtlety than the other examples we've seen so far. White is clearly attacking with his queen lined up against the king. He wants to target the square on h7. So one obvious idea is e5, but that is not the move Bobby played. Benko, his opponent, would have played f5 against this, a clever defensive idea, trying to exchange queens off the board and at the same time blocking this bishop away from its target. So what is a better move than e5? Can you see it? Rook to f6. A beautiful move, sacrificing a piece on an empty square, but at the same time with a real purpose, trying to stop the f-pawn from moving. The idea is if bishop takes rook, now we play e5 and the line is clear to h7. Next move, the queen will dive into this square, giving checkmate. After rook to f6, Benko is completely helpless. The game ended, king to g8, black can't do anything else, and now pawn to e5. The bishop is released, pawn to h6, and Bobby was in no rush here. He simply played knight to e2. Black has nothing he can do. Remember, if he ever takes the rook, queen takes h6 and the queen comes into the game. Brilliant, brilliant play and a fantastic attack. One of my favorite examples there. Remember, like this video and leave your comment below on which of those 5 was your personal favorite idea and move. Brilliant examples, inspiring stuff from one of the legends of the game, Bobby Fischer. Have a little look at these videos.